My name is Albrecht Schaper from Fuel 21, a daughter company of Nordzucker, second biggest sugar producer in Europe. And we are producing bioethanol out of sugar beet, and we have the biggest plant out of this in Germany.
Okay. What's the current state of biofuels in Europe?
For the time being, we have a kind of stagnation in Europe due to political uncertainties in Germany, but also over in Europe. So we get a kind of stabilizing the market, maybe we can say. But we think with the new EU legislation which will become in force during 2010 in our member states, the future will be again for growth, especially in the bioethanol business, but also biodiesel we will see some growth in some member states.
But why is there a stagnation?
There was a call, let's say, from politicians to go into biofuels. A lot of investments were done in Europe, all over Europe, on bioethanol and biodiesel. But with the high agriculture prices 2 years ago, 2 years ago, a lot of politicians said, stop, we have to stop this way, it's maybe the wrong way, we have to rethink about. And so that was really a hit for all investments in Europe, a hit for consumers of biofuel in Europe. And we have still to struggle with this problem, and for that we hope with new EU legislations this bottleneck will be solved.
Okay, and what is the difference between biofuel production in Europe and biofuel production in countries, well, in like South America and Asia?
I think the main difference is we are in Europe today already sustainable. We have a sustainable production because all our agriculture works with certain standards, cost compliance standards, social standards, and all this is today already sustainable. So we can say all our raw material is sustainable. And if I look to standards in South America or in Asia, sometimes we can have doubts about social and sustainable standards in these countries. For that, European raw material for biofuels is sustainable. We will get the legislation on that on 2010. Then it will be also certified, so then we can prove, and then we will have to certify us that we are sustainable, so then we can show it also to the complete public that all our biofuel production is sustainable.
Why are biofuels important?
Biofuels are important for two reasons. One, for climate protection. We emit with biofuels much less greenhouse gas, so we protect the climate. And second is we are independent from energy imports, so we reduce our dependency from energy imports from outside from Europe. And a third point, maybe also we bring added value to agriculture. We bring added value to farmers. We only have to think a few years back, where farmers were forced to let 10% of their arable land idle. So they were not allowed on 10% of their land to grow crops, and that we bring back to them. We bring really investment to the farmers back.
Right. And what's the potential of biofuel production in Europe?
There's still a potential. There are a lot of studies what can be done on theoretical basis, from practical side, and also to guarantee always food and feed production, because that's a priority. First we have to secure food and feed production, but from this perspective you can make some calculations. For example, for ethanol we're exporting around 20 million tons of cereals every year, and out of this you can make around 7 to 8 million cubic meter ethanol. We export a few million tons of sugar every year. You can make out of this also ethanol without disturbing food and feed market. So my estimation is that we are able in Europe somewhere between 10 and 50 million cubic meter of bioethanol. I'm not a specialist in biodiesel, but I think biodiesel there's still some potential.
Right.
But I don't have figures for this market.
But what do you expect for the next couple of years? Developments?
There will be still development in the next years. So I mentioned already the EU legislation which come in force. I see there that we will have European-wide around 10% bioethanol in petrol as a standard. We will see 7% biodiesel in the diesel market. So they still grow. I see there, but important is that we have same regulations in all EU member states, and not member state. Every member state makes its own regulation, because we need a new market and not a national market.
Right. What do you think? It's the legislation, but what are the biggest hurdles to cross the next couple?
The biggest hurdles for the time being are the legislation in national markets. Because there are markets which are closed shops, I say always. On paper we could export to this market, but in reality we are not able. We will never sell biofuels in these markets. I think that's one of the biggest hurdles for the time being, actual the European market. Then also the imports. There's not there are different import routes for biofuels in different EU countries depending on national legislation. That's another hurdle. And the third is that the political target for 2020 for the climate protection targets of the European Commission for 2020 are not yet enforced in the other national member states.
And what about consumer perception, food versus fuel debate, ecology? Things like that?
Consumer perception, food versus fuel. So for us as a food and biofuel producer, because we produce sugar for the food market and biofuel, ethanol for the biofuel market, food has always priority. So if there should be one day a shortage on raw material for our food or biofuel production, we will first secure the food production, and then if there is some additional crop available, we will do the biofuel.
But there's enough potential for both.
There is enough potential in Europe. Actual figures from the EU Commission shows, for example, for the cereal market, that around only 2.7% of cereals goes to the biofuel market, but 58% goes to the food and feed market to secure really the food.